So it's actually surprisingly easy. I don't know what your skill level is or what kind of tools you have, but for me, it wasn't that big of a deal to install a Mk4 brake booster in the car. So to physically mount the booster, that was the easiest part. The mounting holes on the back here are identical to the Mk1, so we don't need to worry about that. Right here, it's hard to see, but the bracket that braces back here comes up and is welded onto the inner fender, and you have to take a hammer into that so the round part of this can fit, but that's the most work as far as physically mounting the booster in there. This is also a Mk4 reservoir and cylinder here, so you just buy the entire assembly. There are two really big differences, though, between the Mk1 and the Mk4 boosters, and that is right here. The lines, it's only two lines coming out of this. So I had to buy a Willwood proportioning valve. This has two lines that go into the top of that and three lines that come out the bottom. You've got driver's side, passenger side, and then the rear brakes there. Three lines that come out the back. Whereas on the Mk1s, it's four: driver's side, front, passenger side, front, driver's side, rears, passenger side, rear. And so I have a bunch of spare tubing and a brake flaring tool kit. So it was easy for me to just make all new lines. Actually, not all new. That one's reused. It's not quite the same as it was before. That bend was originally over there. I had to cut a little bit off and blah, 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 blah. You understand how it goes. And then instead of having the two lines that go to the rear, you have just one line going to the rear and then you tee it off. It's kind of a pain to get to, but you'll have a soft line. Let's see, where is my soft line? You'll have a soft line in between this one, right here, and this one that's actually on the axle. That one, that soft line that goes in there from like right about here to right about there, that's a pain in the butt to deal with. And you've got the same thing on the other side, from here to over there. Those were kind of difficult just because there's no good way to get a wrench. Like a crow's foot would be really good for that. But otherwise, it's not that difficult. Again, I don't know what your skill level or what kind of tools you have, but for me, redoing the brakes to get it a lot cheaper, this guy, it's like $80. Whereas a used one of those for a Mk1 is like $200 to $400. It was well worth spending the money on the new fittings, the Willwood proportioning valve, all the lines, and the tools, and then also the time and skills that you get to build by doing it, than spending the $200 to $400 for a Mk1 booster and master cylinder. Last thing that's different, up in here where the booster is, you'll see I've got some booger weld right up in there. I don't know if it's gonna focus, but I had to weld the Mk1 clevis that the pin goes through to mount this to the booster so it actually functions right when you push on the pedal. I had to cut off the ball end off of the Mk4 booster and weld on the clevis end to the Mk4, and that made it so I could use my factory pedal. I'm probably not the best teacher for this, but one video that I could recommend on YouTube for watching, if you're going to attempt to do this, is Super Fast Matt's video on flaring brakes and all that kind of stuff. He goes into detail about which flares are the best and why. I watched his. I bought all the parts and the tools after watching it, and I just went to town.